On today's show, we're going to be talking about how to make your business name unforgettable. Hello, I'm Michael Robinson, host of the Michael S. Robinson Show every day on Microbin Radio. I'm also an entrepreneur with over 30 years experience, having run successful companies, and author of the book 100 Pennies. Don't forget to click the subscribe button to be notified of upcoming shows, and give us a thumbs up here on YouTube if you like what we're saying. So, naming your business is like naming a baby, right? You want to give that business a good name so the business has a leg up as it grows and evolves in the community. Too many business owners miss the mark when it comes to naming their business. It could be confusing. It could be too long. It could be difficult to pronounce or spell. Or the spelling is just weird and you try to Google the name and Google doesn't know what you are talking about. It lacks a spark. It could be polarizing. It could be divisive. And you want to be careful with all of those that I've just mentioned. And I'm going to give you a layout of what it is you should be doing when you're thinking of naming your business. First of all, your name should be unique. It should reflect your brand. It should be easy to spell, and it should be short and sweet to remember. Think about Pepsi or Coke, right? These are names that have been around for a long time. They're short, they're sweet. People know the brand, people like the brand, people buy the brand. If Pepsi or Coke were to change their names tomorrow, they would lose billions of dollars because the brand has developed what's called credibility over time, which is what your company is going to be doing. Over years, you will gradually develop a reputation of quality of service, quality of deliverables. You have spent a lot of money in marketing and sales. So you don't want to flush that down the toilet by changing the name 4 years into the business, because that brand goes with it. People question why a name changes. They oftentimes feel, well, maybe the brand isn't as good as it used to be. Maybe something has changed. Maybe Pepsi doesn't taste as good if the name changes, even though it may still be the same formula, right? So you want to be very careful about how you choose your name because of all of these nuances that people kind of filter into their decision as to whether they're going to buy your product and continuously support your business. So create 10 names, 20 names that you think might be suitable for your business. Write it on a piece of paper and put it on your nightstand. Each night, take a look at it, sleep on it, wake up the next morning and look at the names again and see which you can begin crossing out, because you want to begin eliminating the ones that you know just doesn't meet the mark, just doesn't reflect your brand, doesn't reflect your personality. So begin the process of elimination. Then eventually what's going to happen is that a name, or if you're lucky, 3 or 4 names would be the end result, right? The end of your journey of, yeah, I like these 4 names, but I'm not sure which one. Now it's a time to do your research. Go on Google, see if the names exist. If they do, which ones, right? So that adds to the process of elimination. Eventually, you're going to end up with one name. That name needs to meet 3 criteria. You need to have the name free and clear. Nobody else should have it, because owning someone else's business name is illegal and it causes confusion and all kinds of mishaps that you don't want to begin engaging in. And number 2, you want to make sure the name has an internet free and clear presence, meaning that you can open an account on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram with that name, and it's all across the board free and clear, right? And you want to make sure that there is a domain available for you to purchase for the name, because you're going to need a website. This is 2020, 2021, right? So you'll need a website, and therefore you're going to need a domain name that reflects the name that we're talking about. let's say you were starting a advertising company or any kind of service business that is not necessarily going to be in a storefront, right? You're going to be in an office building or maybe from your home. You want to have a name that is bigger, that sounds bigger than you are. And what I mean by that is that if you're selling your services, especially if it's a big ticket item, to major shakers and movers, right? Major corporations or people with a lot of money, they like to know that you've been doing this, more than 5 minutes. So you want to give yourself a leg up by giving your business a name that sounds like it is bigger than you are. What I mean by that is this. Let's say you are in Miami, Florida, and you're thinking of starting a marketing company in Miami. Why don't you incorporate the name Miami and marketing in your name with something else? Suddenly you're telling people in a very short sentence who you are, what you do, where you're located, right? That's the best strategy for a name like a service business. In New York, for example, I'll give you my story. My first business in the staffing industry was not New York Staffing, it was New York Temps. I wanted to own a temp agency. And I knew that people didn't know who Michael Robinson was, so I figured, New York Temps. How fun and easy that was, right? I checked, no one had the name, and I was surprised because I'm thinking, wow, that's just a name that I thought a lot of business owners would have chosen. But it wasn't the case. So I ran with the name, and 6 months later, I had built up a really nice portfolio of clients. And one day, one of the clients said to me, "Hey, Michael, I know you just do temps, but do you ever do permanent placement?" And I thought, wow, yes, we do permanent placement, because certainly permanent placement is even more lucrative financially than temp placement, right? It's a lower overhead. So making a long story short, I augmented our name to New York Staffing Services, that when you say the name, people knew where you were located, they knew the kind of business that you offered, and, there you have it, right? So think about that carefully when you are thinking about a name. Think about geographically if that name is sustainable for you, because you may start in Miami, but you might decide, hey, I want to be all over the country or all over the world. So if that is the case, maybe you should be thinking of a name that encompasses more than just the location. What I'm saying is that incorporating a location just gives you a leg up in terms of how familiar you sound to someone who've never heard of you before. You have a lot more legitimacy if you use the name of locations or mirror different types of businesses, not sounding like them, but sounding like you could be as big as they are. Does that make sense? Well, write to me and tell me if you have any questions or thoughts. I'm more than happy to respond. My email is mr@micasrobinson.com. Don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe to the channel for more updates on shows coming up, and give us a thumbs up if you like what we're saying. I'm Michael Robinson. Remember, this is your time. Use it wisely.